can teach a computer how to solve a problem. Well, the value of it is not too automated, so it's not a service you sell or a product you provide, but something internally where you need here and there. You will see a lot of integration with ChatGPT for that line of work. You won't let it run over all of LinkedIn and try to find the people for you. That would be very inefficient.
Our relationship with technology is evolving rapidly. As AI is changing businesses and reshape our world, what does the future hold?
Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Michael Coppola. I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Together, let's explore the incredible potential of entrepreneurship, business innovation, and technology to take your ventures to the next level. Hi everyone, we are here today at another video of Serious AI Business Transformation. Today we are here with Yonatan Alexander, Head of AI at Lasso Security, and we're really excited for the content and the interview with Yonatan, as I believe we are in really approaching a transformation in both society and businesses. I really believe we have to talk about for better transition to this big way of technological advancement. So Yonatan, thank you very much for your time, and it will be a pleasure if you can introduce yourself and give us a little bit more about your background. Would be great.
My name is Yonatan Alexander. I'm 38 years old. I live in the Netherlands. I work for Lasso Security, which we secure Gen AI applications. I've been doing AI for about 10 years now, and in Lasso for about a year and a half. And yeah, that's it.
Great, thanks, Yonatan. And so, what is your specialization? Is cybersecurity in AI?
My specialization was in AI and machine learning. I've been the head of AI in another cybersecurity AI company before called Cyber, like the bear. And before that, I ended up as the head of AI in another startup in Norway called Bilton. So I've been doing a lot of machine learning and machine learning engineering, building a lot of different tooling. And when the Gen AI field exploded, I was in the right place to kind of move and capitalize on it.
And so what drive you to specialize on that? So what was your drive to move to machine learning, AI? So
I really like the idea of solving problems which you don't know how to solve. In many cases in machine learning, we solve problems where we don't actually build the algorithm that solve the problem. We can teach a computer how to solve a problem. You can think about a problem like translation, where if you want to write an algorithm to translate from one language to another, it can be very difficult to think what do you do in each letter and how you save it. But we managed to teach a computer to do translation very well. And I love that level of abstraction and this way of coming at problems and try to understand how you can teach an algorithm to solve your problem instead of writing the algorithm yourself.
So where do you think come from this, this really, this drive to build a machine that solve problem for us?
Could you repeat? What do you mean by that?
I mean, where do you think come from that drive to build machine that solve problem for us? Probably, it's a problem solver kind of drive. As a human, we strive to solve problem, and building machine that solve problem for our process is probably make us, more better as a human.
Well, I'm not sure that was my passion. I just enjoy the field. I find it fascinating. I like the challenges. I like thinking about problems in such a way. So it just drove me into this area.
Great, great. Thank you very much. And what at Lasso Security? What are major projects that you're working on, and what really excites you about this?
Well, in Lasso Security, we get a lot of new challenges every week. You get a completely new problem. It's not that you have a set, very standard challenges and solutions and already pre-made kind of direction. You are actually going in a wild west. There can be a new way to attack an LLM, or a new way to use it, or a new model to consider, and it has new weaknesses. So you constantly learn and find out new things that you can do. And on one hand, there is a lot to learn. On the other hand, everything is kind of integrated together. It makes it a very interesting place to be.
But that's great. So now it connects with my next question. So what shift have you seen in the last few years into the approach of AI on the different projects, how businesses are using? I think, Lasso, you work for different clients, right? So you are probably have a broad understanding of what businesses are using AI and how it's been shifted in the last 5 years.
I noticed that many clients we work with and people we talk with, they have much better understanding of not the technical details, but what AI can or cannot do. Surprisingly, now that Gen AI is technically more complicated than a lot of other machine learning elements that we were using before, it's also more approachable for the average person. So if you are an executive or a decision maker in a company, it's much easier for you to kind of try it and learn about it and see news about it, and the hype is going all around. And in that way, it really pushes people to be way more aware of what's going on. I remember at the beginning of my career, most of what we do when we did the recommendation engines and decision trees and all kind of other machine learning algorithms, the people we would work and sort of sell the solutions to, they wouldn't really have a deep dive understanding of what's going on and what's possible and feasible and what kind of data they need. But with Gen AI, when you speak to people, you can really see that they have kind of an idea of what it does, what it can do, and how they can use it.
So what you're saying is they are themselves, that they are pushing also the use cases to AI and the capabilities to them, use cases.
Yeah, people are way more aware of what it can do and how it can integrate. Before that, it was either optimizing this number or maybe a recommendation engine, and that's it. But now people are just full of ideas. We can implement it in this part of the company, in this part of the company, in this part of the product, as this service. And it opens their mind, and also it inspires people to try to figure out where it fits them.
So why do you think that is the generative AI is been now accessible to everyone, so has opened up many opportunity, or why do you think is that?
I think it's the hype. I think people see the ChatGPT, they see how much people invest in it in terms of finances, and you can try it. If you had no idea about AI and you would want to try some machine learning algorithms, you will have to code. Now you go to ChatGPT, you ask it a question, and you see what's going on, and it's much easier, just more approachable.
Yeah, so it's more approachable for the end consumer, right? So before it was just
Especially the non-developers.
yeah. Great, and so that led me into the next question. What do you think are fundamentally changing into the operation of businesses with the use of AI? Have you seen any particular use cases, and also in cybersecurity?
Well, we specifically don't do cybersecurity using LLMs. We do cybersecurity for LLMs. So if you want to integrate LLM into your company, then we come to protect you from all kind of issues you may have, losing information, people use your LLM against you, all kind of sophisticated attacks and so on. So that's what we do. Now, in terms of what I notice other businesses are looking at, there is a lot of, I think there is a lot of people that consider how they can remove a lot of friction, a lot of places where you have bureaucracy, they have a lot of details, a very long process, a long manual aspect that can be taken away. I think that's where you see most companies considering LLMs.
Mm-hmm. And have you seen a shift on how businesses operate internally? In any automation tool or in some way that they are adopting machine learning on or generative AI into the operation of the business?
I think this process is still slow. So I think people are excited and they want to do it, but most businesses are as big, most big businesses take time. So people think about how they can do it, but most of the changes I saw was that people do manual work. So eventually they have an idea, they want to test it. They go to ChatGPT or they go to Anthropic and they just try to help them with some paperwork, or they try to help them with solving a problem they have. And they just try to use it, and then that's how it actually end up integrating into the business. If ChatGPT end up giving you a good idea, then it actually integrated into your business. If you gave it some of your information and let it do some math and kind of develop, let's say, develop kind of an answer for a question you had to do for your presentation or for your investors, then it's already integrated, but in a very minimal way. For the level of automations, I think we're going there, but we're not there yet.
So do you think eventually we are going to automate a lot of processes inside the company through Gen AI or machine learning?
Definitely. This is some of the LLM's biggest strength, is this type of automations, taking simple challenges that are just cumbersome and annoying and repetitive and automate them. So that's one of the things it does very well, but this is also very expensive. So I expect that where the value of it is not too automated, so it's not a service you sell or a product you provide, but something internally where you need here and there, you will see a lot of integration with ChatGPT for that line of work. So for example, you need to do some AI and you need to do some HR work, and you're going to use AI to generate a few examples or to go over CVs or kind of to do it on a scale that you do it here and there. But you won't run it on every CV you get automatically unless you get not too many CVs. You won't let it run over all of LinkedIn and try to find the people for you. That would be very inefficient. What you're going to see in those kind of challenges is probably the better companies are going to use AI to build tools who does that automatically. So I won't send every page of LinkedIn to AI, but I will use AI to build a tool that can read LinkedIn under the agreements that they let you to get the information. And I think that will be a very important shift. So we will stop thinking about how AI is the service and how AI help us build the service.
Okay, so you mean building, can you do another practical example?
Let's say I want to, let me think of a nice one. Let's say I want to do anything that looks into building a mortgage. So I think well, maybe that's not a good idea because most people don't do many mortgages. So that could actually scale quite okay, because for every couple they come, you won't have a lot of people doing it, and so it doesn't scale very high with the demand of LLM you need. So those type of things you could still do by having someone come to you and then they just pour all of their information and the LLM builds the best mortgage for them and explain to them why the mortgage works. So when the scale is small, this is doable and this can be fantastic, especially when there are all kind of consideration to do and you have a lot of experience and knowledge in your company which you can insert to the AI to take into consideration. On the other hand, if what you need to do is, for example, I want to recommend movies for you. So every time you open Netflix, I will put all the movies and the description, and then I ask what movie I should watch next. That will be a complete waste of that algorithm, and not necessarily do even better than other sophisticated recommendation engines. It definitely won't be cost effective. So you would rather use LLM to build a recommendation engine, and then use that one than actually just serve it to LLM every time to kind of have predictions.
Interesting. And so do you think, because now we have seen a lot of AI agent getting into the labor force. There are Salesforce CEOs talking about digital employees coming into the labor force this year. So do you think we are going to see a huge automation into businesses? Because this is what seems is happening, because through these really smart LLMs, that they are smarter than probably average human being, we can now, giving different access tool, you can really give them more complex tool through agentic behavior. Do you think that will happen?
Definitely to a certain amount. Like in the example I talked about the mortgage, where the use case fits and it doesn't scale too big, so you don't have too many people using it, it's not too expensive, and you can save employees on the other hand, it might be a good solution. But there are many challenges with agents we still need to figure out in terms of monitoring and a lot of prompt engineering and make sure it does what it wants and evaluating them. It's not as easy. We are not there yet. I think at some positions, maybe not a position in job, but maybe there are some tasks that that can be moved to agents. But I wouldn't say it's going to be a massive shift. I think on one hand, it will be very expensive because the moment you're going to start doing it on all of them, you imagine it's much more scalable than humans, and in a way it is. But then you won't give them the task, just the task you actually give the humans. With the hours you give to the humans, you're going to give him everything, and it's going to become very expensive. So it's not necessarily, unless you can do some of the filtering you do with the work with the people, there is still a way to go to the point where an agent will be a replacement for a human. I think there are many tasks that agents can do well, and when the toolings will arrive to the certain level, then it would be useful. And even that will have to pass a trust test. So there are many things in life where humans are the weak link, but we as humans, we want humans in the loop. So you can think about it that if you go to an airplane, not having a pilot in an airplane is surprisingly good for your safety. But no one will go on an airplane without a pilot, even though after every crash we notice that it was a human error, and if he would just do nothing, in many cases, if he would do nothing, then it would be better. Nevertheless, not many people will go on an airplane without a pilot, and I think AI also has some issue with the explainability. So you can ask an LLM to explain to you why he made a decision, but it actually just trying to answer another question. It doesn't actually tell you how he made the decision. It tries to predict what would be a reasonable answer for an LLM that answered that question, which kind of gets you in this place where you have to decide if you trust the answer by itself, and it's not a real way to understand how the model works. Unlike, for example, decision tree, where you can just look and we say, oh, if your house worth is here, then we decided that your interest is here, and if you put it on this year's, then the interest goes here. You can really understand how the decision was made. So LLMs, we don't have that, and we are far away still to build tooling for explainability that are good enough to build this type of trust. Now, there are levels of trust which AI has better than humans, which you can see when it comes to discussions. So when two people have a discussion, often enough, if you know each other, you know what each other's opinions are, and you can have a lot of bias to accept or to disagree. But with AI, people are more tend to just listen to the AI and listen to what it has to say and take it as is. Now, as an AI specialist, I can tell that there are some biases in all of the AIs, the public big ones we have today, because they were all built by liberal, rich companies or China. So you end up having kind of those type of biases integrated into the AI, but on a case-to-case basis, you don't feel the same level of bias that you might get from another person. And that make AI very helpful for discussion and learning new subjects and kind of get into new subjects that you want to learn about.
So thank you very much, Yonatan. It's yeah, really interesting. So I want to ask you a bit more about if you have any AI trend that businesses or individuals they are not paying attention to, and they maybe should be more focusing on that.
I definitely think that people jump over the idea of build tools for services, like I said before, and thinking too directly about using the LLM for the task at hand, which is very expensive and also very slow. Even as AI is getting cheaper and faster, it's still pretty slow for many, many tasks you would like to have. You wouldn't want an AI to go over all the possible tweets and show you the tweets that you would like the most. You wouldn't like to wait. You want to have a refresh and see the tweets. So for many businesses and challenges and services we kind of tech companies especially provide, it's easy to think about, oh, this AI can do and this AI can do. But a much more useful and easier direction to go is to use AI to build better tooling faster, to develop and iterate faster, and kind of augment your development team and your decision-making team with AI, than actually put the AI in the front and let it provide the service itself.
So you are saying more into the development itself of application than into the front end of the application.
As the question is, are you building a service or is the LLM the service? If you trying to, I don't know, try to figure out the news, for example, and you want to have the LLM just summarize the news for you, then you can also use the LLM to bring all the news and read them all from the internet and so on. You probably want to use the AI to build the tool that collects all the data and kind of bring it together, and then only give the LLM maybe the summary part. If you imagine that you give the LLM the entire service you want to provide, you're going to have a bottleneck in cost and in speed. So you would rather do as much as you can by building tools that are automated and fast and efficient using AI, and then only use AI for the parts that you just can't or very, very difficult to do.
Great. And do you think there is some industry specifically that they are underestimating the impact of AI? And do you think they are going to be forced to change them idea?
I'm not sure about underestimating. I think in many bureaucracies in cities and states and legalities, you still don't see it as used as it should. And I think in that regard, you're going to see that trend go up. I think especially when your city or your country is providing you all kind of services, then people, it's kind of similar. Think about it like this. When you go to the doctor many years ago, and he will tell you you have some symptoms and you have a disease, you will go, okay. And now you sit with the doctor and he gives you his, what he thinks you have, and you Google it, and you're like, but Google says this, and I read this, and I heard that, and you have better or worse discussion with your doctor. It can be very annoying, but you're definitely more informed, and sometimes you're less informed, but you think you're more informed. But it's something to react to. You can't just ignore the fact that people have Google now. And I think that's what you're going to see next with AI as well. So instead of working with Google, people will work with AI, but this is also way more general. So I can see, I want to take my passport off, and I want to have a new passport. I'm coming to the clerk, and he shows me what he wants, and I have everything ready because I already have it. Maybe I can fill things automatically that are very specific to my use case. So which country I came from and which dates, and fill out all these different values, filling all these different forms. So you can think about it, there is a lot of friction that you can take out of a lot of processes. And just imagine you would sit with someone with a typewriter at the moment, you would go mad. You are happy they're using computers, and as the computers have better software, we are happier. And I think when AI start to integrate a lot of this type of friction of, oh wait, I don't know what this is going on, and this is a weird situation I don't know how to handle, maybe in those things you can see AI. And definitely from the consumer side, people will come and they will already have AI on their phones. So they will be way more informed based on how AI is going to answer them to that specific problem. And if you are just being hard-headed about the way things were, I think you're going to stay behind.
Yeah, in fact, this is a good point to go into the next question. We're talking about how individual and professional can adapt to this shift. I think we are seeing now a lot of people going more into AI, and how can we, what skills we need to develop to adapt faster and get into this field and adopt it efficiently?
I can think of a few points. One of them is AI literacy. So you need to understand what it can and cannot do, what its weak point, in some cases what type of biases it has. And as the models are getting bigger, sometimes those things become less problematic, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't understand, at least on general kind of on a general sense, what challenges it would have and where it might fall short, and what to use it and what not to use it. For example, when ChatGPT just came out, people were asking it questions about current events. At the time, it didn't have any internet or any other information. It just had some till 2011 or something. In that case, if you ask it a question about the news yesterday, you're just going to get noise, or you're going to get something that it will guess for you. So people who understood that it didn't have internet connection were using it much better than people who were using it for internet connection and didn't understand why the answers are so bad. And now you can have all kind of use cases where it does have internet connection and more tooling are going to be integrated. You want to understand what tools are, what their weaknesses, and how all of it is working together, so you can use it better and know exactly where to be careful. I think critical thinking is going to become key. We already have a lot of challenges with fake news and misinformation because of a lot of the information that comes on social medias. And we know that some of it goes into our models as well. So asking good questions and be really critical about the answers you get, and have kind of a good intuition about, oh, this sounds like it's repeating someone else's words, and this sounds like it makes sense considered everything else that's been said so far, is some very important skills that I suspect younger generations will have way more inherently, or the opposite. They're going to be terrible at it, and misinformation is going to rule the world. I think.
We hope no. We hope to. This is why we're having this discussion, right? As well to, inform both ourselves and other people to have a better decision making, understanding, how do we, select, fake news to real news. I think, you said correctly that one of the most important skills is, select and be able to be critics on anything that you read or you experience, as there is going to be a lot of fake news out there. So focus as well. Focus is probably also really important, as we have so many things and we tend to have so many stuff. So probably focusing on one or less things is probably even more valuable than that. And selecting which one is the most important thing is probably the most difficult thing to do. Yeah.
I think we don't know also if our future AI overload will merge the misinformation into its thinking, or will figure out what it is, what it shouldn't consider. So the people who put the information in, if they're very careful and they make sure and they validate the data, the AI will have a really good basis of knowledge to kind of figure out things that don't make sense, and we can make better tooling to kind of prevent it. But if you just throw everything you have, you might get to the point that the AI is giving you and generating you bad answers and fake facts and all kind of things like that. We already have some elements of it in terms of hallucinations, where a model, it looks in the right data, but it still predicts the wrong data. Modern models are doing much better at it than former models, but then the information initially might be completely fake, and we don't know yet how AI will integrate those type of elements, and it can go either way. So it's important to be kind of with a hand on the pulse of where this misinformation elements is going. Another, maybe if you want another kind of idea, is to use it for creativity. So many times you have a challenge and you don't know what to answer, or you kind of have an idea and then start using it as to think about it and kind of, give me a few ideas for this or that, or fill this form for me and then fix this, or write me this essay, and then I'll go over that essay as a template or as a starting point. Those type of directions can really help people who want to augment their ability using AI, instead of kind of let it do your job. It can help you do your job better and kind of make a fast track a lot of the boring or difficult things. It's much easier for us to kind of look at something and improve on it than start from a blank slate. And I think you will see a lot of that kind of uses of AI.
Mm-hmm. Going back to the hallucination part, now came to my mind a question. Because neural network are inspired by neurons, the structure of human brains, and do you think, I mean, humans, they not always say 100% accuracy of information. We do have a range, right? We will never be 100% accurate on something. There's going to be a percentage where you have a margin of error, right? Does LLMs, because inspired by that, will they also always have a percentage of, inaccuracy? What do you think?
Well, I think there is an assumption in what you said that there is knowledge that is perfect, and maybe we want to aspire for it in kind of science and other kind of fields. But in reality, in life to life, maybe the answer itself is just not clear cut. And then you get a bias and you have your own biases and they conflict sometimes. So I don't know. There are hallucinations which are just a mistake. And I think models are going to be better at figuring these things out. But it's not going to solve our problems of misinformation, and it won't solve other challenges that LLM has. I don't think that is the main kind of challenge that it's going to hold. It's very important to understand that the way LLM work and their logic is not the same as ours. So even when they make a decision and they make a mistake, they don't make the mistake the way we did, even though it was inspired by the human brain. It's a completely different logic. It's a completely different kind of way of making decision, if you want to call it like that. And the type of issues they have are coming from a completely different place. For example, at least in current LLMs, we are using transformers who take words and take them into tokens. That means that for numbers, the number 1,000 can be a single token, or one that is 1 and then 000 as a single token, or 10 as a token and 00 as a token. So when it needs to understand the idea of 1,000, it can go in many different directions about the logic of it that are completely unrelated. We can see it in all kind of weird elements that the answers in math are not what you would expect, or you get different answers because of changes in numbers which shouldn't make any change. And we are gonna, again, LLMs are gonna become better at it, but they inherently have some issues with things like tokenization, in things like planning. And we are trying to go around it by building systems and agents and tooling to kind of, let's have a tool who makes math. Let's have a tool that gets us the internet. Let's have a tool that gives you memory and kind of keep you up to date. But inherently, the algorithms are still too raw and have like their own kind of biases and mistakes that they are doing because of the design, which is very different with the mistakes that our brain doing with its flaws. And we shouldn't conflate those two and imagine the LLMs is a human and he just thinks differently. It has a completely different way of thinking. And we should take that into account.
Great. So we should aim for 100% accuracy, or at least really close.
We should aim for it to be a very, very good memory, and it should reference its own references very, very well. I suspect that is something we're going to do very well soon enough. You can also check it. You can do ground checks, and you can do all kind of validations about the information. It's not an unsolvable problem, but it's something to take into considerations.
Yes, the only thing is that we, as a human, so yeah, the thing is that they are trained also on data and the source of the data. So we should validate all the data that go into the LLM. How can how can you filter all the data and accuracy of the data? So because the data comes from humans are biased. So we got a lot of, if you see 8 billion people, they are going to have many different, and the reality of what people are believing is really small in percentage of the real fact that things happen. So how taking that data, putting inside LLM and aiming for an output that is 100% accurate, do you think is possible?
How to say? Definitely that we have a lot of issues with it, and most of the work has been done by computer scientists and Gen AI developers, where they're trying to kind of curate the data and use AI to curate the data or generate a data that is more valid based on all kind of elements. And there is a lot of research around it. It's a big challenge that we have to deal with. I don't think we are far off, but it's definitely a challenge, a big challenge. And I'm sure that we are still going to have issues about the groundedness of the information itself. So it won't be just out of the box, true or false. Almost not a lot of information that, not a lot of information is outside again of like research and physics and kind of like facts, and even history is sometimes very problematic based on kind of the perspective of the people who has it. If you want a good reference, you can check maybe a value in Wikipedia that on a contentious subject, and check it on different languages, and you're going to get completely different type of definitions, and you're going to see that which one is right. Each one of them is sort of right, and maybe some are more based on research and history, and some of them are less. But it's very hard to say, because if you are now an LLM in a country and you're listening to its own Wikipedia, then you'll be happy, and if you listen to some other country's Wikipedia, you will be unhappy. So the idea that we have ground truth is already something we as humans we need to deal with and grapple with and kind of figure out how do we agree on things like that. And AI can either help us with that or make it completely impossible, and we still don't know which one it's going to be.
Yeah. Really, really interesting topic. Thank you very much for your view on this. I want to now pass a bit more into the future of AI and work. Do you see in the next 5 years some bigger shift into how business operate using AI?
Definitely, in the ways we discussed before, I think we're going to have more tooling that are better and faster and easier to use. I think we're going to have less boiler templates that we use humans for. We're going to use way more AI for kind of give us examples and ideas, and kind of it will help amplify human capability more than anything else. It's going to be part of how you work. The way we work now with computers instead of pen and paper, then we're going to use AI for a lot of it. And especially for places like research and kind of taking complicated decisions that integrate a lot of aspects, and we're going to let AI help us with it. So I think that's going to be initially where we're going to see it, and with time it depends how cheap and efficient AI is going to be, and how easy it would be to integrate, and how much trust we're going to have in it to see how much it's going to go into many companies. I don't know if 5 years is optimistic. The hype energy feels like next year or in a few years, but I think it's going to take a bit longer, especially depends where in the world. Some places are going to run with it and run fast, and some places are going to take their time. We're in Europe, so we're probably going to take it a bit slower, and we're going to see our brothers in the US running as fast as possible and sometimes hitting some walls, and we're going to not enjoy some of the best things and not have the headache of some of the walls they're going to hit. So hopefully we're going to take the best out of it.
So there is a lot about this discussion, and I also want to do this question to you because I'm really curious to know, what do you think? Do you think there is going to be, I'm not sure we have been talking about that a lot of, because there is a lot of discussion in technologists, economists, that a lot of people think that AI will disrupt a lot of work and there's going to be a lot of displacement into society. Do you think this is the case?
Well, as an AI developer, I probably should say no. So no, I don't think so. But my argument is that I think in many cases of this technology, it will be disruptive, but it won't create a lot of replacement. I think it will augment the way people work, and it will take some jobs off the market, but other jobs are going to come back. When people moved from horses to cars, obviously we have a lot of people building cars and designing cars and driving cars and doing a lot of things that people didn't do with horses. And the same, you can think about it when you had there was a time where you had a bank teller to give you the money. You would have to stand in line and talk to someone, and he will give you the money. And then we moved to an ATM. So what, you stopped having bank tellers? No, they moved to a different position to do different things. So I'm not worried about people losing their jobs and have nothing to do. But I think it's going to be a mind shift that people will have to accept. It's very hard already for old people, for elderly to move with the internet and all kind of the changes and all the settings in all of the devices we have. And this type of challenges now our generation is going to have. And those are things to consider and tackle. But I'm not worried that people won't have a job and won't have anything to do.
Yeah, I also hope so. I'm also have your point of view. I really believe there is some, so we don't know what we don't know. So we see all the time we've been adapting, we're creating new jobs, new opportunity. Seems what the economy is always been doing. The thing is that if it's too fast, into going into the economy, there's going to be probably a period where there's going to be a huge, because companies, they're going to start to realize that they don't need 10,000 employees, they just need 1,000 to do the same thing we used to do 5 years ago. So if that is the case, there's going to be the risk that there's going to be a lot of jobs initially, displaced. So we will have to talk about this thing and how can we adapt. So we will see. I'm really curious. I also want to talk about to understand what other people think.
I think maybe a point to make is that many of those companies already don't need the thousands of people they have, and they don't fire them. So not necessarily that the AI shift is going to cause that, because there is human factor to take into consideration, and relationships, and conservative mindsets that are still going to still be prevalent in many companies. So I'm not worried. I'm not too worried, but maybe I shouldn't be the guy asking about being worried about AI becoming more popular. So it's also something to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Great, Yonatan. Thanks for your time. Just gonna go into some closing thoughts. If you have a piece of advice for professional, both that they are coming into the AI field, how they can adapt, and I see if you have any closing thought on our discussion, and it would be great.
I think if you are just an average Joe and you kind of want to figure out what AI is, just try to use it. Just go to ChatGPT, put your mortgage detail and ask it to give you what makes sense. Go to a real problem you have in life. I got some money, how should I invest it? What is a good amount? Here are all my details about which schools, what I care about, which school should I take my kid. I live here and here, my kid is like that, and kind of what is our values. Just give it challenges you actually have with yourself and see what it answers, and build trust with it, and see kind of become more capable. And if you are a business owner or kind of a decision maker in a company, I would argue try to find a single high impact use case and try to figure out if that is the thing you can do. That's a good way to kind of dip your toes into the AI water. Try to see if that works. Try it manually, see if the results are good. Try to automate it and go in small steps. And don't just buy GPUs and go head first. I don't think that's going to work very well, especially in a field that moves so fast that by the time you know what you want to buy and how you want to do it, there are better ways to do it. So start small, have one single good use case, and use it for your own personal life and your decision making at work. Again, don't take it for granted, but use it to kind of give you ideas to work with as if you would talk to someone else, and see what you can get out of it.
Great. Thanks, Yonatan. It was really, really interesting, and thank you very much for your time. And feel free to, if you have any closing thought you wanna you wanna share, feel free to let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and good luck.
Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Michael Coppola. I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Together, let's explore the incredible potential of entrepreneurship, business innovation, and technology to take your ventures to the next level.